Observer's Log. This is from 60,000 Lightyears, a Star Trek podcast, coming to you a little different for a holiday treat. We're not reviewing the next entry in the franchise, although I'm really looking forward to it, and I know Eric is. I am one of your observers, JClark, JClark787, and your other observer, Eric Berry, better known as Trekkie B47. That special treat we got for you here this week is a link up with our friends over at For All Nerds, the first guest here on From 60,000 Lightyears. So welcome, and we want y'all to make yourselves at home. So please introduce yourselves in the fashion that y'all generally do. Just bring all that energy. You don't have to hold back. If y'all got them, bring it out. Let the people know who you are. My fine Howard sister, Tatiana King. Go ahead. Because it's black women first, all times.
Yes, I got my list of names up too. I'm ready. This is Tatiana King from For All Nerds, also known as the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as Tatiana Kang the Conqueror, T'Challa Bread, He Who Cannot Be Shamed, the Ting of the North, Kodak Blackwoods, and Gucci Mandalorian.
Appropriate. What's up, y'all? It's your boy DJ Ben Amin, aka Trinidad Bane, Master Splinter Cell. Keep that same energy on when you see me. Arsenio Holiday. That's about it. Hollywood, here in the spaceship tonight.
Together they represent For All Nerds. Thank you and welcome here to the show. And we're going to see what happens here. I gave my good friend some homework. So, Eric, we don't usually do this, but just to join in the spirit. What you got, sir?
My name is Eric Berry, a.k.a. Trekkie B47, a.k.a. Barry Legend on the Xbox platform, a.k.a. Babe to my wife and Dada to my son.
Aww, that's cute.
It is
Good job.
Captain J, son of Tim. I said Jerome is in the house of Clark, hater of Trump, slayer on Call of Duty, where my phaser is never set to stun, on the BSS Black Spaceship Enterprise 1906. Shout out to all the good bros. Welcome.
Of course you had to throw that in. Got to throw that alpha stuff in there every time. I get you.
December 4th is coming.
So the alpha's bros and then the Q's are bros. Is that how that works?
Can we not get into that right now, DJ?
I heard good bro, and I was like, wait a minute. I thought that was already, hey. I'm friend to all, but I'm just wondering,
I feel like that might get tested tonight. I feel the energy is here. It's good conversation. Welcome once again. In case y'all missed it, we're not exactly calling this a part two, but it's kind of going to be like a part two to the conversation me and Tati started on y'all's side. But before we get there, because the door has to be Star Trek, so I just want to ask, off jump, what is y'all's relationship to the greatest franchise ever seen on the side of the Earth? That franchise turning 60. Okay.
I first saw Empire Strikes Back when I was a young lad.
Just immediate hater move.
I didn't say it was hate. I'm just saying you said what's my relationship with the greatest franchise of all time, and I had to say, I saw Star Trek as a toddler, and it changed my life. So,
knowing the Star Wars fan that you are, is there any love, any hate?
What
is it? Just
no. Of course, we have our Star Wars versus Star Trek, which is legendary on For All Nerds. But one of my favorite films of all time is the original Wrath of Khan. It is, that is a life-changing moment in theaters for me. Also, The Voyage Home is a great one. That whole set, The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home are all classics.
You want to go ahead and call it possibly a greatest trilogy there is in movies?
Nah, I wouldn't even.
I'm going to poke the bear a little.
Nope.
You said that smooth.
I wouldn't even get that to Star Wars, though. I think probably the greatest trilogy in movies is either Lord of the Rings or Captain America.
Yeah.
To keep it a buck. Oh
my God, Winter Soldier is one of my favorites.
All three, First Avenger, Winter Soldier, and Civil War are that's some movies right there. So
okay, you real about this? He real about this? He brought out some films I was not expecting in that realm.
Yeah. But and then Trek is always Trek. I'm never I know it was funny. It was hilarious. I think I told Tatiana about this. How I got berated at homecoming by a friend of mine's daughter That's how grown we are. That their daughter was in the club with me and was berating me about not having seen pretty much most of Deep Space Nine or 90% of Star Trek. Yeah, it is what it is.
That might be one. If you, I think if there's any Trek for you, that might be the one. But that's not here or there for another day. Tati, what's your relationship to the franchise?
I grew up on it from like day one. My uncle, other like family members are watching. I'll be sitting there with them like, what's going on? And I'm a tech person. One of my nicknames is Grandduchess of Tech, and I've always been like drawn to technology in all different facets, all the different applications of it. So of course, Star Trek making, the reality happen. I mean, I don't know about the warp core, but everything else has been happening. So, I was on that, right? It was immediately yes for me. So I started with like, not so much the original series. Like I saw that after the fact. I started up on the Next Generation. So Geordie LaForge and all that. So, and Guinan and all the rest of those groups. So that's been my entry. And I do admit I'm kind of like, what they say, a traitor to your race or a traitor to your kind. Even though I will always throw up the V. I always throw up the V. I haven't been too tough on Star Trek lately. So that's what our conversation was actually about, Jason.
Perfect segue. Mm-hmm. Perfect segue. Because, you came hot out the grease for our conversation. And I'm not going to lie, if you haven't checked out that episode, please do. It's on the For All Nerds page. We will link it here for y'all to see. It sat with me for a while in a way that I wasn't expecting to. Because I'm not going to... You asked the question, you were like, why should I low-key care about this as a black person? And I was like, wait, hold up, boom. I went straight into, I got to defend this here franchise in this space. But it sat with me because I'm like, I don't know. I don't come to Trek for a black experience necessarily, although... It has been a good show in diversity and all that kind of things. And it got me thinking, I kind of want to pick that up a little bit and just explore why we like the things we like. Because I think the beauty of what you guys offer as a platform, again, your name is For All Nerds. That's what your show is about. Like here we are. It's a podcast. It's 3 black people and a white guy. And we're about to talk nerdy stuff. That's not something you generally see. I'm blunt. That's how I am. Like that's just, it's generally not a conversation kind of space you're about to see. And I kind of like that, It fits right in with Star Trek and its inclusion and all that kind of thing. But again, it's like, I don't think of it as a black show. I'm not like, yes, Star Trek has looked out for blackness all the great time, and that's why I watch it and draw to it. Mm-hmm. And I can probably think on maybe it's really like 4 occasions that Trek has really been like, hey, this is black, and we're going to touch on this in a black way, and everything else is kind of large. But I was really kind of open the door. Like, why do we like the things that we do? And like even maybe some of the things y'all do, because even beforehand, we were talking about shows, and I'm like, oh, that's not necessarily a show I would expect you to name. Like, yep, that's one I'm really checking out right now. So in all this stuff that we do, what is it that draws us to some of these things? Like, Ben, what is it about Star Wars or Marvel in general, outside of some of the surface stuff that we know that really draws us in?
Before you say anything, Ben, I want to address your comment about I don't watch Star Trek for black stuff. Me neither. And I don't think anybody does. What drew me to it and why, like when we ask, like, as a black person, why should I watch it, is because Star Trek has always been more revolutionary in its approaches. And when we say black things, I don't mean like colloquially black. I mean the fact of things that, and kind of this is also kind of answering your next question, which is like, what draws you to things? It's what can you teach me? What can you show me? What, not necessarily like after school lessons, but what can you bring to me in story format that's different from everything else I've been seeing? And as mentioned, Star Trek has been quite revolutionary generally throughout its history, even in little things that I've always seen. In the multitudes of lands and stories, black people don't exist in space. But in Star Trek, they're there in copious amounts, right? I had mentioned The Next Generation. No, the whole ship ain't black people, but you see them real prevalently. And it's not like they're like it's a unicorn. It's like they're just part of the fabric of society. And it has been that way. You mentioned Deep Space Nine, Captain Benjamin Sisko. Okay, now if that wasn't a blackness forefront, I don't know what was. But even still, it wasn't just primarily because it has to be about black people. No, it encompassed aspects of the black experience, and also, to be very specific, I'm talking about Black American, because there are other black experiences throughout the diaspora. So I just wanted to address that point. Just saying,
By all means. So, from your front, Ben, what really, outside of, because even listening to the show, the things you're connected to through the diaspora, are there things outside that necessarily draw you to projects, or is that so deeply rooted because traditional. Here we go. Yep, Black excellence, Howard University. It's kind of built into that a little bit. So is it just that, or are there other things that you're like, nah, this is what really draws me into some of these things that I love?
I think for me, it's always been the philosophical levels of things, even though I was super young when I got into pretty much everything. Like the story that I always tell, my sister tells me, because she's older, is that I was really a quiet child until I saw Star Wars, and then I just wouldn't shut up after that. And my earliest memories are more like, especially of the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, when it's a lot of Yoda and a lot of what Yoda was saying. And so that's something that's been with me since my whole life. Even today I was making a reference to that when I was explaining to someone that, we're beings made of energy and not on these physical matter. And so that's something that has always been with me. And I think that's things of that nature always draws me in. Like, as you see behind me, or if you saw my cosplay from New York Comic Con and Halloween, I'm a huge Galactus fan. Like, Galactus is, my favorite character in Marvel and one of my favorite characters in all of just fiction. And it's because Galactus represents such an unknowable ideal to me. I think that's why I love him so much, or love it so much. Just the whole concept, and that it's such a bigger than life thing. And that's the type of thing that draws me in. And I think that's why I've always loved Star Wars, and why I love Trek. I think when I like Trek is when it got weirder than like Q and things of that nature. Or even though I think that movie is goofy as hell, but the one where they go and meet God is
Star Trek 5, yeah.
It's that type of thing. Or even in the ones that I love, like in Search for Spock, when they're building a whole world with the Genesis thing. It's things like that get me more involved. When it's just like the larger than life, just the craziest big ideas are what really draw me into things.
Yeah, and like one of the things that we've talked about on this podcast, especially when we were talking about the Star Trek movies, is I kind of like the larger than life problems, like, God, or a weird alien probe we can't communicate with unless we travel back in time.
Talk to whales. Yeah.
Talk to whales.
Yeah.
And that was my I think my biggest problem with the Next Generation movies. As much as I love Next Generation, that's what I grew up on. It became more of like, hey, we've got this villain that's trying to destroy Earth or the Federation, or has a vendetta against Captain Picard. And I wish Star Trek in general would return more to like the weird strangeness,
exploratory,
non-forehead aliens. And one of the Discovery seasons dealt with that, and I thought they did a beautiful job, where it was like it was an alien species that was just so out of our realm that they had to figure out the mystery, and that's like, Ben, what you're saying, like that draws me in. It's like the weird higher concept, like it's more than just a human concept.
Yeah, that's like it wasn't until a pandemic that I watched Rebels and Clone Wars all the way through, and I just found them to be some of the most brilliant stuff I'd ever seen. But what really drew me in was when they got to the episodes when they got super weird, when they were dealing with creatures who were force users, who weren't human, who were just these giant mythical type beings to humans, but were more just aliens who just had a connection to the force. And that type of stuff is when I'm really, okay, yeah, this is what I'm here for. So yeah.
So is there any point in this stuff that's like, at what point does it turn you off if it's not addressing your need? Like, at what point do we get turned off by some of these things? Like, the opposite is what makes you go like, yeah, that's not a realm I'm diving deep in. You can watch something for the first time, like, yeah, that's just not, they're not speaking to me. Like, what are the things that'll turn us off, or turn you off specifically from even deciding to venture into a franchise, or just be like, yeah, that's not even worth my time to spend with?
This is going to be a funny comment. Terrible effects. I can't do it. I can't do it.
You watch Star Trek.
Oh, you
wait
are
a
so
minute.
disrespectful.
I agree.
Wait, the bridge is being attacked. Hold on, the bridge is being attacked.
Hey, that's the beauty of the show to me. I'm not gonna lie. Give me some of that fast stuff.
Oh, I can do it in camera. I can do it in camera. Oh!
Wait, if I got a sparkler right here, I'd have everything.
Disrespectful. I wasn't that bad, Jason. Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna lie. I agree with him. That's what, to me, that's one of the issues with it now.
What was that in the 60s, 70s?
No, fam. No. Next generation. They are still jumping across the room when something gets blown up.
Well, first of all, jumping across the room is hilarious because that's an 80s, 90s thing. You know that. And first of all, don't hold. First of all, don't do generation like that. Don't do TNSP like that. First of all, everything in the
battles
80s,
still look so
70s
trash.
was doing that. Everything you watch, from the action movies to the most calmest movie, people were just fucking eating their bodies across the, you know.
Of course.
Look, one of my favorite franchises, if you can't tell, is like Power Rangers and like Super Sentai. And I'm like, that's the most worst effects ever. But I'm still into it because of the stories and the lessons and all that.
So you need it looking that pretty, though?
Well, maybe not Ben, but like me, like, and I'm not talking about some classic stuff where it's a product of its time, Ben. I'm talking about you watching something today and it looked like it's made with like a shoestring and some macaroni. Like, I'm not with it. That's what I'm talking about. That's the first thing that I'm just like, oh, hell no. I have to think some more about like something more substantive, about something that'll make me not watch. Yeah, besides, like, I will have one, veiled or coded racism. And because it happens a lot. And then again, the aspect of what I said earlier, still happening. Where are the black people in space? Where are the other people of color in space? Like, if it's space and it's fiction, anybody could be there. So why is it still everybody's from Great Britain? I don't get it. So
sounds like the Empire there.
Yeah, but I thought that was used to great intention.
But that was on purpose. That's different. That's on purpose. I mean, like.
Yeah, it's
when
only
it's
more
clearly
recently
like you just
on
don't
purpose.
care.
Before it was just everybody was great British actors. That was just Star Wars.
Right.
Now it's on purpose where it's like, okay, we'll take these white great British actors and make them the villains. That was Gilroy being a genius again.
Yeah.
There's not much. I think I was cracking on Tread for the shaking. That doesn't even make me,
that's funny, if anything.
Yeah, and I love that stuff. I love those. Man, I used to love it. Like when the bridge gets attacked and they get blown up and they go flying. That was like my favorite part. Some rando in the back gets killed and he gets thrown across the room and then that was always great. Yeah. I know, like, speaking of Rebels and Clone Wars, for a long time, I just don't like that style of animation. And it took me forever to get into it. But then when I did get into it, I loved it. So that's not something that really even holds me up. But there are like certain, like DreamWorks to this day, I just don't like their old stuff, especially. I don't like it. But I thought Puss in Boots 2 is one of the greatest films I've ever seen. So
you don't like How to Train Your Dragon style?
Nah, it's not even that one. It's the one with the Despicable Me with the pointy noses. Oh, yeah, the pointy nose characters I just cannot get with. It's so weird.
I'm kind of similar to Ben, where it's like, because I'm a big animation person.
Yeah,
and if the animation's out of whack, I'm just like.
But there's certain stuff DreamWorks has done I love, like The Bad Guys is really great. That's DreamWorks too. And then, like I say, Puss in Boots 2 is just one of the greatest films ever made. And then the other one is not even coded racism. And I don't really see this as much in science fiction, but as a resident, and I don't even say this film's name on social media anymore, but I'll say it on here. I hated and will continue to hate and will continue to call out one battle after another everywhere I go. And if there was ever anything like that in any type of science fiction, I would, call it out the same way and never watch it. But I can't think of a film or a property like that in science fiction, which is, to me, so obviously, I don't even think obviously racist. I think that's why one bad after another is going over some people's heads, is that it's wildly racist in ways that people don't even get. So, yeah.
I want to pick up on something you said, Tati, which made me think real quick, is kind of the subject of as fans of a lot of things that I guess we get classified as nerdy. And it's not just Trek, because me and Ant, we we love Trek, but we tear Trek a new one every now and then when we feel it's messed up.
Of course.
Right.
F you, Paramount, but continue.
I mean, they're not completely messing up. Damn.
Everything good, I would argue, has not been Paramount, but that's a side discussion.
Viacom. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Just yelling out. Sorry, we'll never get sponsored by those people ever. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey, we grow. I'd rather be authentic than bought by the man. But with like a lot of the franchises we all love, Marvel, even Star Wars.
Sorry.
Hey, we invite the energy. It's
those views are not held by those of For All Nerds.
You'll take that bag in a heartbeat, sir.
In a heartbeat. Love you, Paramount and Viacom. Awesome.
I get it. I'm
just flashing to like the old promos where it was like Viacom.
Oh no,
that's taking it way back.
Wow.
Yeah. I love that joint too. That was my joint back then.
Been in it for a minute, and I think we've all got fatigued with a lot of this stuff. What is it we think would help fix some of this stuff, or is it simply like some of this stuff has just been around too long? Like Star Trek is coming up on 60 years, and while not active all 60 of them years, majority of them years in some way, shape, or form has been active. Is it simply like a show doesn't need to last 60 years, or is it, hey, is it now the tech is too big, too much in the shows, it's killing what we actually loved about the shows? Like what? And it's like it's not just a Star Trek problem. We see it in Marvel and all these different iterations of stuff where it's just kind of like, yeah, we're still here. Okay. What do y'all feel about where we are and across our variety of fandoms?
That's interesting. I think that I don't think it's that it's been here too long, because like as you mentioned, Marvel, I mean DC, I was just realizing the other day is about to be 100 years old. Wow. Like Batman, I think it's 1939 or something like that. I know it's getting very close to 100. And I was just rereading, like recently I've been rereading this old Iron Man run from when I was a kid. And it still holds up. And a lot of that stuff hasn't been done in the movies or any of that. I think that in Star Trek, one thing that I always say that I love so much, and I feel like I haven't even seen it at all, is the hopefulness of Star Trek. And the idea that we can have a better future. And I feel like that isn't represented enough in science fiction in general. And I always look to Star Trek to hold that up. And I don't feel like that, maybe it's being done on the show, but I don't feel like the general feeling or, the
sentiment of hope.
Yeah, the sentiment of folks watching is getting that feeling. Like when Andor dropped, I go back to it a lot. People are like, yo, this is about revolution. And people are comparing, you see posts comparing it to things that are going on right now, etc. Yeah. I don't get that from Trek, where I'm like, yo, people are like, yo, man, this giving me hope for tomorrow. Yo, we can have a better future. And I feel like back in the day, if there'd been social media when Uhuru and Kirk were kissing, there'd be a lot of wild out, but there'd be a lot of like, yo, this is great, and I don't feel like we're getting that from Trek right now, where it's like it's capturing the zeitgeist and really getting people to feel it like that. It's the most I hear about nowadays is from Lower Decks,
right? Which is cool, but
but that's not, that's more. It feels like Lower Decks is looking back still and not looking forward, to me at least.
So I know Jason and Tatiana talked about Prodigy. Jason brought up Prodigy, and for me, like, they marketed it as, hey, it's on Nickelodeon, it's a kid show. But when I actually watched it, I felt that because I feel the same way as you do, Ben. I'm like, there's less of that hope right now in Star Trek, but I think towards the end of Discovery, I started to feel a little bit of that again. But Prodigy, when that came out, I felt like this is a show that I can show my son. And he was like 2 or like 1.5, 2 when it came out. So he like recognized it, but it wasn't like full on engaged with it.
Right.
But I heard other friends on social media that had younger kids, and there was that sense of hope. There was that sense of wonder that I felt like Trek was providing to the next generation, pardon the pun, but that's what we need more of. And I think any franchise that runs, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, you need to keep hope alive for the future generation. Otherwise, the future generations aren't going to carry the torch of the message of the show.
I agree. And even on a more technical perspective, this stuff has to be available. Are you able to watch Prodigy right now? And if so, what network can you watch it on or streaming service?
Only on Netflix and only the second season, but That's bought the physical media.
I think that means like next month.
Yeah, it's gone next month. And that's what's so heartbreaking for me is that it was the disrespect that Paramount just pushed that show off to Netflix the second they could after the first season. And, people were literally buying airplane messages on the Netflix office to keep Prodigy going. And it saved it for the second season, but not for the third. And there isn't going to be no third. And
right.
But now it's disappearing from Netflix, the show that, helped fund the second season. And the only way you can have it to watch it is these DVDs or Blu-rays. And it pisses me off that Paramount's hey, we're the home of Star Trek. And it's yeah, but not all Star Trek, because you guys keep shuffling around the movies and you don't have Prodigy. And it sucks that happened to what I think is the show that gives that message of hope in our current time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might also be one issue that they're really facing, that Trek is really facing, is that Paramount, as a streaming service, I'm not buying that shit. I'm gonna keep it buck. Sorry, Paramount. Terrible.
Hey, I bought it for.
I will review all your shows if you give it to me, though. But
I have it temporarily for Lioness, and then I turn it off.
Yeah, but it's like y'all said, I want to watch Deep Space Nine right now. Because I'm okay, maybe I'll check it out. Why not? I could binge that in the background or something. And
is it even accessible?
Yeah, I'm not going to Paramount. That's not happening, folks.
And that's just to further answer that question you raised, Jason. What is it taking? It's not so much as these properties are so old. That actually helps lead to the richness of it. I'm glad you mentioned Batman, Ben, because that's literally who I thought in my head. I'm Batman, 99 years old. What you mean? And we've literally every 2, 3, 4 years. On Clockwork, we get a new iteration of Bats,
and
right?
People act the Batman, the latest one, is God's work. So,
right. And that's fine. And similarly with
I'm not mad at that. So it's a new Star Trek could be God's work if it was done right.
It could be God's work. Just there are some whack Star Wars stuff, and there are some God tier Star Wars stuff.
Yes.
As we mentioned, our favorite by Mr. Kilroy, right? So I just think a lot of it also deals with the changing of the old guard, right? And that in many different respects when we come to the creation, the creative part, right? The writing, directing, all this other stuff. Change out them. I'm trying not to curse. Change out those people, right?
Let it fly, girl. Be authentic.
Change out those people, right? Or give others a chance, right? There's tons of people all over who have, even people who you wouldn't think, that would why is there, not that I know, but how come there hasn't been a horror slant to Trek before, a really involved horror slant, that might go real hard, right? But no one has and I don't think it's no one ever thought of it. I just think the old guard was nah, that's too far gone from what we know with Trek. And even if you don't even take it to the 10th level, come back home to what Eric was saying, the show was about exploration. And you don't even get that anymore. So what's the idea of doing that? And then, like I said, from the creative perspective, the guard needs to change. And then even from the technical perspective of being able to get a new audience. That's another thing. The audience of Trek has shrunk dramatically. And it's partly / mostly the fault of the publisher, the distributors, because you can't even get it on where the people are.
Them taking it off Netflix was a huge mistake. They should have kept the licensing on Netflix, because Ben, like you were saying, like Paramount Plus is not it. That app is garbage on my phone, on Xbox. It crashes when I'm trying to watch stuff.
Damn.
Like I was trying to rewatch Picard, and I was just like, I'm just going to pop in my Blu-rays because these look better.
Right.
And it's not going to crash out on me every 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's. I didn't even know it was that bad. That's
terrible.
It's super bad. It's super bad. And I'm a proponent of having physical media, so I'm glad that you do have the DVDs and Blu-rays. I'm also a realist too. Like I want you guys, and you guys meaning everybody, to have physical media. I'm always going to say buy it if you can, no matter what. Also, the damn devices to play it are disappearing too. So it's just like. Yep. It's like you're getting screwed on both ends of this. And then I'm looking exactly at the people who are sourcing all this stuff, and they're making it impossible to draw an audience. It's making it impossible to bring in a new generation, right? We talked about the next generation. Like you can't even do that because the next generation doesn't have access to the content. It's wild. So it's just like, I feel like that's where the issues lie when it comes to track and maybe even other places where it feels stale, right? Like it's just like they're not allowing innovation to happen, and they're not giving the innovative stuff to the masses.
I think one of Trek's biggest problems is this format of 10 episode seasons. Like, as kind of what you mentioned, I laughed when you said, like every property kind of has they god level stuff, and that is terrible. Yeah. I don't know if there's a franchise that survives just as much off that was terrible and needs that was terrible as much as Trek, because there are some that was terrible, which is some of the most beloved stuff in the franchise, which I think has led to payoffs now down the road as we seek to do the whole, this connects to this, and here's this, and a lot of that stuff comes from some of these episodes where like, wait, that random corner of the wall episode that we had never heard mentioned again, and we're not kind of getting those opportunities to drop breadcrumbs now or plant seeds that could hopefully be trees 20 or even 10 years from now. It's all, hey, we got to harvest what we got, and nobody's planning nothing for the future because it's all got to be connected. It's all got to be a singular story that's always connected in these 10 episode seasons. Like, Ben, I'm not gonna lie, I am envious of you hopefully one day finishing Deep Space Nine, because to me that is like the format for a sci-fi series, that ability to have a bunch of episodes where you have stretches where it's, these are connected, and then maybe a couple seasons will pick this up.
Shit.
And then something random. Like Deep Space Nine to me is the roadmap for not just Star Trek, a lot of shows and how we could play in this. But no, it's 10 episode seasons. We can't do that. We can't have fun. We can't tell that crazy story where it's just like get one off, and we got people fucking ghosts, and that's an episode. we can't do that. But that leads to stuff down the road that you get to play with later on.
Well, listen, you know what? You have to be particularly adept and, again, open to something valuable in terms of storytelling, because there are cases where 10 episodes is enough. And it actually, and again, I don't think it's a little bit more than 10, but Andor, that wasn't a million episodes a season. But when I say that was cinema, it's 12. It's 12 because it says 24 episodes.
The three part, there's like 3-part.
Yeah,
that's cinema. And like back in the day, maybe seasons used to be longer, but the point is like you can get that in a smaller format, but you have to allow for it. And for whatever reason, and which boggles my mind, because I'm like, doesn't Paramount want money? I thought that was the name of the game, and it's just like, they don't care. It's like they own this. And then at the end of the day, they really don't care because they own it. They're like, I could do whatever I want with it, which is wild. And yes, you're going to have the diehard fans who will always be there no matter what. But those people are getting older. Those people are also starting to get a point where they're not caring. Those people have their DVDs and Blu-rays and, the Xboxes. And he does not need you at this point because you're not even fulfilling what he wants to begin with. So I blame them.
I'm looking for.
You're losing sponsors left and right. I'm sorry. Get out of here.
No sponsors.
No sponsors. This is for the people and by the people. And this because I don't know where that money is coming from. Last I want tied to some list. Who knows? Yeah, I'm just digging a bigger grave here myself. But I think I want to turn. I feel like you're defending Star Trek here more than I am, which is okay. Cool. Turn the tables. One of the things I'm envious with Star Wars is I feel like especially with a show like Andor, it's had more of an opportunity to grow into things that it might not have been before. Versus, I feel like that's the argument we're hearing a lot with Trek is they had, because let's be honest, this Kurtzman era, they had tried a lot of stuff. Some of it sucked deeply, some of it really worked. But I don't think Trek is given the same grace that we've seen with Star Wars. For an example, as a franchise where a lot of the shows it is trying now is its first iteration into some of these types of products, where a lot of it is, hey, Star Trek, no, you got to do it like back then. We need that old thing back. This is what you have been, and you got to continue to be. Whereas it's one of the reasons why I called Star Wars a simpler show and pissed Ben off. But because I think they were simpler before and have been able to grow, because it has that slow trend from, okay, it was just the movies, the trilogies. Then we got nothing. Then we got some animated products, and it's grown versus Star Trek's been like, yep, it's shows, and then it started movies early, and it's been doing that since day one almost to an extent, and the fandom isn't giving it that shot to do so versus the other one.
But now I'm going to defend the fandom. Who is the fandom?
Right.
And I also
Who is the fandom? How much is the fandom? Have you seen the numbers that a brand new Trek clip does on YouTube? It's trash. And it's not necessarily because the video is trash. It could be one of the greatest animations that you've ever seen, or a really ideal story. But there is no views. There's no numbers because people don't know. It's because it's the dwindling fan base. And they are losing for many years now, but are losing their patience. And was one of them. Understand? And I'm like, when you talk about, well, they're not giving enough grace, it's because it's like there were 100 people in the room, but now there's 10. And these 10 people who are still there are the ones who are kind of on the same, like, well, give me the OSHA. Whereas Star Wars, you've had it where it was a room of maybe 5, but then it grew to 100. Then it kept growing and it kept growing. And then it adjusts in terms of who's in that fandom, but it never necessarily fizzled out. That's what I feel. I just feel like it did a different turn in terms of the generations that were part of it, in terms of the people who learned more about it or even cared. And because of the stories were so different, a different type of viewer too. It wasn't just sci-fi people. People who watch Andor, there's people who ain't never watched a day in their life anything Star Wars before. But because they like the approach, right? They're like, okay, well, that's different. It's about revolution. This is about fight. This is about this. It's about that. Like, and it just so happens it's based in a space, right?
Maybe throwing a lightsaber here or there, yeah.
Maybe throwing right. Maybe throwing the force here and there, just, it is what I just, at the end of the day, like, you can't, like you say, well, people are not giving it grace, but it's like, who are these people that we speak of? The 10 people still in the room?
And then I also gotta disagree that Star Wars fans are any better where it's given grace.
They're not better, no.
Yeah, Andor is a one-off thing that we probably won't ever see anything like that again. That was just a flash in the pan, with lightning in a bottle type thing. And I don't, Star Wars can be just as rough with change, with doing anything different.
The fandom could be extremely rough. And for the record, I didn't say that it wasn't. Star Wars ain't no better.
No, you didn't. But
you got more people.
No, Jason was definitely saying that, they give more grace and, he's jealous for Andor and all that. But that's Andor. That's it.
But you see how they did Rose. You see how they did FM1.
You saw how they did the Acolyte.
How they did Acolyte, like didn't even give that half a chance. The moment you saw a brown face, God, this is did y'all now was the show all it was cracked up to be? No, but was there glimmers of hope there?
There was more than glimmers. There was some really dope shit in that show.
There was some amazing shit in it. Like if people really watched it and at least
if it got a season 2, that could have blown up even more.
Yep. But it never got a chance.
It was exploring, like Jedis ain't cool, right?
I mean, I never watched it like that, but I know, historically, it's known that the Next Generation season 1. I mean, I did watch it back then, but it's known that season 1 is trash, and it's not till season 2 that it really starts, becoming the show that everyone knows and loves. And that's probably why I fell off it, because I watched season 1 back then and was like, man, F this.
The Next Generation?
Yep.
Yeah, bro. You had to go get past that.
Yeah, you got to get to season 3, and that's rough.
Never did, yeah.
But also going back to talking about that Star Wars has had this room to grow and all that. they're also on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I mean, again,
money.
It's going back to the Paramount thing, and it feels like Paramount has all this money to do stuff, but they're not doing it. And I mean, if you want a more accessible platform, you got to have a platform that at least meets basic streaming standards.
Ain't that? Wait, it doesn't Paramount have, what do you call it, the cowboy show?
The whole Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, it's got Taylor Sheridan stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
all I care about is Lioness.
I mean,
that's the only thing on that network I care about.
Like, that doesn't crash when you watch it? Because I know that's not a massive fan base. I know they'd be pissed if that show didn't work.
It'd be crashed out all the time, but like...
Yeah, that's sad.
It's terrible. Like, it's like you are self-sabotaging, and I'm trying to, and I would love to dig deeper. Like, what is it? Like, it's like an abusive relationship. It's just like, I love you and I hate you. And I'm going to show you every day that I hate you. But I love you. Like, it's really toxic. And I don't understand, like, what is the end game with this and how it's set up? Because to your point, Eric, they have the money. It's not like they're doing anything else besides Lioness every 6 years. So, because I'm still waiting for them to come out with the next season. But just, what are they doing? Like, what is, I mean, and aren't they like merging, not merging? Like, what's happening?
It's so weird. And there's this whole thing, and even with, like, I mean, this goes deeper into media, but like the whole Warner Brothers thing, and they were kicking off shows and doing all this crazy shit. And now Paramount is trying to go, Paramount, now Skydance, and now they're trying to go after and get WB. And I'm like, can you guys just like make some fucking shows and like can we stop with the corporate shit and just like make some shows and archive some stuff? And you know, even going back to the physical media thing, the season 3 of Strange New Worlds just ended, which I thought was terrible. But you know, usually by this time we have some kind of announcement of like, oh hey, and it'll be on, you know, Blu-ray, and you'll get your Steelbook by the end of the year. I haven't even heard shit about that, and that kind of makes me worried about just even the physical media aspect of it. So I don't know what they're doing.
Questions are being asked.
These are the questions we have. These are the questions and answers, right? All wrapped in one. These are the reasons.
They just make it hard to be a fan.
I've got one more question, because I've been thinking about this for a minute since you said it earlier, Jason. How do you say that Star Trek has more bad than good? Like,
no, not more bad than good. The bad is just as important as the good.
That's crazy.
Well, if you go deep into the franchise, like
filler
terrible
shows.
episodes.
Yeah,
those are the episodes though, which you'll find at the heart of fans sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like there's this episode called Data's Day. It is nothing special, nothing spectacular. But there are people who love that episode. Like, it's that episode which drew them to the franchise. And it's, for them, it's a greatest episode of all time, a personal great. But it's just some random weekly filler.
And to this day, there is like a body switch, body merge episode on Voyager, Tuvix, that people still argue about the moral implications of Captain Janeway's decision like 20 years later. So, and it's not like, you know, 100% greatest of all time episode, but you know, if you have these short 10, 6, 12 episode seasons, there's less chances for episodes like that to happen. I think that was your point, Jay.
It's because it's part of it is there is a beauty in, like, we're nerds. We love to get into the nitty gritty. It's not always the big shiny thing that gets us. Sometimes it's like, oh, that banana peel in the corner that they just discarded. That's what drew me in. Like, it's the littlest things. And I think something like with a franchise like Star Trek, that's some of the things where people have really gotten super nerdy. And I think that's what really has, as you speak about, like, who is the fandom? Who is the community? It's these things that people will argue about that you're like, wait, why are we talking about these minute things, which at the end of the day don't really matter in the midst of the show, but it's these little things that we care about the most, and that's what you would probably identify as a fan. Like, oh yeah, I can spit out these engineering diagnostics, and it's like, wait, what the, like, why do you know it that much? And or you can tell when a ship panel was changed because you see the numbers. Like, wait, you are too damn into this. It's great though, and I'm all happy for people with it. I think I wish there was more space for that sometimes, with the gaps that we can get into with and have bad things. Because as you said, we're not getting the chance to be bad. Like 10 episodes, yeah, you can't be bad. There is no room for bad. You got to knock everything out the place.
It's bad. Me referencing Stranger World season 3, I had some freaking issues. But that's the thing. It's a 10 episode season. If half the episodes are terrible or just so out there that it's terrible, like that's 50-50. That's not a good track record for any show.
It's a poor batting average for sure. And one that will make me say, I'm not watching this anymore.
I think that's a good place to pause the conversation there for right now. They are For All Nerds here on from 60,000 Light Years. In your own words, please break down what it is you guys do on a weekly basis, and where people can get to know you, where they can find you, and please, because the drip is oh so clean, I still need to place an order for a Gucci Mandalorian tee, and you got the Flex Luthor. Yes, let them know about all that, your story, where you come from, because that is a part of who you are as well. Please, the space is yours. Increase the audience.
Of course. So we are For All Nerds, FORALLNERDS, fan for short. The fan fam is everybody in our family that supports the show and supports everything that we do. We cover nerd culture, pop culture, entertainment from damn near every facet you could think of. So comics, movies, TV, film, music, and beyond. I'm joined by my lovely, beautiful co-host, DJ Ben Hameen.
Thank you
go
very
ahead,
much.
talk about yourself a little bit too.
Yeah.
And make sure you brag about yourself, sir. Please, make sure you go there, because the room is purple. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, the room is quite purple. And, I am DJ Ben. I mean, the other half of For All Nerds. As my name says, I'm a DJ forever and a day. I'm also a writer and author. I'm one of the creators of Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze, the Eisner Award nominated graphic novel out now from Titan Publishing, featuring Jimi Hendrix in space using the power of his music to battle against an evil intergalactic empire. I'm also a children's book author of The World Is Yours, which all of this can be found on my website, bigdjenergy.com, as well as our website, forallnerds.com, where you can get all of our glorious merch and all that different stuff, like our Gucci Mandalorian shirt that I'm wearing right now. Tatiana's dropped the Flex Luthor, which is coming very soon to forallnerds.com. So head over there, leave an email, get a discount, all that good stuff. And like Tatiana said, we're For All Nerds. We talk about geek and pop culture. We're one of the longest running original Black owned and Black hosted podcasts that speak about pop and geek culture from the perspective of people of color, mainly blackity black people like ourselves.
That's right. And we're both Howard University proud graduates, as I'm sure we've mentioned 50 times by now. If you didn't hear, we went to Howard University.
Yeah, you know.
I know Eric like, oh my gosh.
No, listen, I listened to your guys' 2 latest episodes, and I listened to the one Jason was on, and you guys do I'm awesome stuff. You've got Thanks. A fan right here now. I've subscribed. I'm part of it now, so now you guys are doing awesome.
No, we appreciate you. Oh, and I keep forgetting to add, we are Rotten Tomato critics as well. So you'll see our reviews of everything, TV and film, on Rotten Tomatoes. We are part of the Tomatometer. We're probably the ones saying the opposite of what everyone else is saying at some points. But that means we care. We're telling the truth. So
they official, and they bring in some good stuff. Like, yeah, y'all part of the inspiration behind why I wanted to get up with Eric in a way, with the whole like other viewpoint. Like, especially in Trek, you don't see a lot of black people talking about Trek. And I was like, I'd like to link up with somebody and talk Trek, and my good friend here. And that's what we've been doing for a year now. We're going to keep going for a little bit, and who knows what the future holds, because there's only so many series left. But once again,
you can't access. Oh, and also I just want to say quickly, I have watched you guys' episodes, and I really like what you're doing, and appreciate y'all keeping the name, the Trek name afloat. But my God,
it's a tough road.
Lord.
It's a long road from here to.
That's sad too, because I remember when Discovery came out, there was such hype, and
it was huge.
Yeah, now I guess that hype has faded. I guess so.
The only thing I have hope for now is Starfleet Academy,
and even then, that's going down.
And even that, I'm like,
I heard Picard got garbage or weird.
Yeah. Well,
I just yeah.
Well, not at first.
Yeah, no, I know not at first. Well, I know at first Guru was hype, and then he got quiet.
I watched it at first, and then
they did the thing where we did a new thing, but then people started wanting to call for that old thing.
Yeah,
and we said, as you mentioned, the 10 people in the room, we listened to them, and it was like, yeah, let's get that old thing back, and that old thing hit right, but.
And you can listen to all of that on our last episode.
Yes. Like, share, subscribe, spend some time in the crew. Once again, you spent any time with us, we appreciate you. We thank you all for joining us here on From 60,000 Light Years. All their links are in the description. Please join their family as well as ours. Let's grow this thing as we all explore these different phases of nerddom. And wow, you tell 6-year-old me you can proudly proclaim you're a nerd when you're an adult in front of people. Would have never believed you, because them days was rough. But until then, stay safe out there. Y'all live long and prosper. Enjoy the holiday season, because the streets is rough. Throw that V up. Come on, Ben. Give me a V. Give me a V.
I'll give you a third one. I mean, that's what I instinctively throw up. I have to work at the V, right?
I imagine.
I physically can't.
I can't do it with my left, but I can do it right. Yeah.
Wait, the thumb has to be out?
Yeah, thumb is out. There you go. That's it.
Yeah, no, I can definitely do it. Yeah.
See, we turning them.
I can do it with both hands. Yeah.
Look at you. You trek all the way. Look at you.
We got you.
Trey Ward all day, Texas in the house.
Let me cover that up real quick.
Hell was going to take us out.